Nieves is a former NYPD detective and says...
The late photographer, journalist Ardina Seward. Nice to see you, Ardina.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
Hey, everybody out there, applaud yourselves for tuning in to our show because we welcome you as an audience. All the new subscribers, we're so happy to have you, which means a lot because our numbers are growing. And you have no idea what an exciting feeling that is because it means that our message is getting out there. I mean, a lot of effort goes into putting the show together to get information, to get guests, and it's a labor of love. It's a labor of love for you. It's a labor of love for the animals. They get the publicity that they deserve. So thanks so much for tuning in. Now tonight, speaking of labor of love and speaking, I'm Ardina. I didn't even introduce. Forgive my manners. I'm Ardina Stewart. That's Angel Nieves, former retired detective with NYPD. And tonight we have a man who has a big animal sanctuary in upstate New York, in the Catskill area. His name is Dave Loverde, and the name of his organization is called Friends. It's a whole long word. Friends of Feathered and Furry. I gotta look it up. I'm sorry, forgive me, because the title is
FFF Wildlife.
I gotta look it up. Oh my God. Okay, I got it. Bear with me. Friends of the Feathered and Furry Wildlife Center. Try saying that 5 times. But it's Dave Loverde, and as soon as Angel runs the videotape, you're gonna meet Dave. And there you have it, or at least a portion of it. And Dave is going to fill you in on the rest of what he does, the history of his organization. Dave, I'll let you start out. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started.
Okay. Well, we got started because my wife came up with a crazy idea that she wanted to build a wildlife rescue center. And I told her, she was a little nuts. And but she started out, and we started out really slow, and we moved along, and we've come quite a way in this since 2010, I believe we started. And we've been taking in orphaned and injured wildlife, and everything from bears to bunnies. We don't turn away anything. The only thing we don't do, because we need a special permit, is RVS species, which is raccoons, skunks, and bats. And the problem with those are if you can't do them all together because, God forbid, if one of them comes in that's rabid, then we have to put all the mammals that we have down. So it's too risky to mix those species together. So we just stick to regular mammals. And we do fox, we do bear, we do deer, we do eagles, owls, hawks, songbirds. Pretty much anything that's in the Catskills we take, even an occasional alligator.
All right, well, we'll get to that a little later on in the show. but I think what is unique about your group, it's not like a rescue group, it's a rehab group, is that once you have taken care of the animals and rehab them, they're released back into the wild.
Yes.
They're not given away as house pets. I mean, they're not that many that you can give away as house pets, but I'm sure that people who would inquire about that. But then, the important thing is that they're released back into their natural habitat. So yes, your group, your resting place, your temporary rest stop is just to to help them get back on their feet and then send them on their way.
Yes.
Now, when you rehab them, are any of them tagged at all, or they're just sent back untouched?
The only thing that we tag now are eagles and peregrine falcons.
Okay, so they're tagged, and that's in cooperation with with the government, or
Yes, New York State DEC.
New York State DEC.
Eagles and peregrines get two bands. They get a federal band and they get a state band.
Okay, what's the average amount of time that it takes to get an animal back up to speed?
Well, it all depends what they come in with. A lot of times the hit by cars take a lot longer because the bones have to heal, and because birds have hollow bones, the only way to line up their bones is to send a pin through them, right down the center of them. So I work with a vet, Laura Jaworski. She's an amazing vet. She's been with us for a very long time. I also work with Cornell University, and SUNY Delhi also works with us. And we bring all our. I don't do any surgeries. I strictly do the rehab. I'm not a vet. I'm not. I just take care of the animals after the surgeries. So we pin their wings, we pin their legs. Sometimes we use wraps. We have to change the wraps 3 or 4 times, and just to keep the wing up. And pretty much just get them on their feet and get them going.
Now, I see that in addition to deer, you have bear. What is the common injury of bear that is brought in?
Right now, the only thing that DC allows us to do is we can't take anything over 65 pounds. So basically, it's just orphan bears, orphan bear cubs.
So what happens to when you help them? How do they survive back in the wild without their moms?
Animals are amazing creatures, and there's nothing that's going to survive better than a hungry bear. So they eat no matter what. They'll find something. They eat bugs. They eat grubs. They'll try just about anything. So it's actually not that difficult for them to figure out what to eat.
Now, when animals have been released, have any stayed away and then decided they wanted to come back to your sanctuary?
No.
So once they're gone, it's like, see ya.
See ya. Yep. They don't even turn around and say thank you.
They're just gone.
They're so fed up with me by the time they're done here that they don't want to look at another human being, which is the right way to do it. That's why we don't name our animals, but they're not pets. We treat them like they're supposed to be treated. Dignity, and we don't handle them. If we don't have to, we don't play with them. We don't kiss them. We don't hug them. This is not a smooch, because everything here wants to bite and scratch me.
Yeah.
So it's not fun for me to cuddle with something that's going to hurt.
What is the worst animal injury that you have been able to rehab?
The broken bones, the car collisions are usually the worst. The car collisions are usually pretty bad, and broken bones, head trauma. I had a bear cub in with a fractured skull from being hit by a car, and that guy took 4 weeks of him eating mush, just very soft food, because he wasn't allowed to chew, and because every time bears chew, their skulls open and close, and so we had to make everything was a mash for him, and he just, after like 4 weeks of that, he was just so fed up with it, he just kept laying in it, and it was just a mess. But that was probably one of the hardest ones, and but that worked out really well because he fought really hard and he did really well, and he was released and he's on his own now.
Are there any that have to be put down because they just? What percentage of the animals that come in have to be put down?
If we basically go for quality of life here, and if the bird cannot be released or the animal can't be released and have at least survive out there, then we usually have them euthanized. It's the right thing to do, because I don't say that I'm not really. You introduced me as a sanctuary. A sanctuary is where animals stay forever.
Right. Yeah.
They don't stay forever here. I get them on their feet. I get them going and get them out. That's the whole purpose of what we do, because they don't want to be with us as much as everybody thinks they want to be. They really don't. I mean, I have security cameras that I keep an eye on the bears, and once the bears get to a certain size, I have little windows for vents, in their enclosure. It's a 50 by 20 concrete block enclosure with a 12-foot fence over it, and we do blind feeding. In other words, we open up this hole in the door, and we just slide a tray in the food and just slide it. So once they're outside, there's no human contact whatsoever. And after a while, they just pace around all day and they stare out the window. I have 3 trees for them to climb, and they stand up there and they just look out into the woods because it's all woods behind me. And it's sad. They want to go. They don't want to stay. They don't want to be with us.
How difficult is it for caregivers not to bond with the animal? I mean, because you're feeding these animals every day, and you must develop some affection for them.
We insist on it. There's no baby talk. There's no smoochy. There's none of that here.
Oh, wait a second. Come on. I mean, so somebody brings you this little wounded bird.
Right.
You've got to give that bird all you got to get that bird back up to speed. How can you not feel any sort of, I don't know.
I cry every day when something has to be euthanized. I don't want you to think that I'm that cold-hearted, but it's not like a place where we hug and kiss everything here. They're not pets. They're wild animals. So we try to keep them as wild as possible, because if we don't, what ends up happening, like take a fawn, for instance. Now you get in the baby fawn. Now baby fawn, you got to bottle feed them. Same thing with squirrels and stuff like that. They all get bottle fed. Now, if I treat them like a baby and I'm going to hug him and hold him and caress him, he's not going to fear people. So when he gets released, he's going to walk up to anybody, because that's the reason for the blind feeding for the bear. That's a rule that DEC puts in so that they don't see humans as food or a food source, and they don't get used to us. So they're supposed to be afraid of us. That's the way you do this properly. This way, like I do fox, red fox, gray fox. And let's say a red fox comes walking up to somebody because I decided to hold it and hug it and squeeze it and kiss it. Now, when I let him go, he's going to walk up to everybody looking for a pet. And then he's going to get shot because someone's going to think that he's sick. Because fox don't act like that.
Oh, yeah, I see your point. I wasn't trying to make light of
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying they're not pets. That's why we like Angel asked me the other day about freedom. We don't name our animals here. We name animals where they come from. He's Skahari. We have a couple other eagles out with trackers on them, and one is Narrowsburg. That's where we picked them up from. So we don't give them smoochy and huggy and cuddles, or we don't call them any of that. We just name everything where they came from. This way, we know which one's which. Bear cubs too.
How big is you need a lot of space for this. How big is your facility?
It's a decent size. It's a pretty nice size. We're on about 3.5 acres here.
That's big.
And we have a flight cage. We have a 100-foot flight cage where we fly the eagles.
Wow.
I saw that cage. That's why I put it in the intro. And seeing that bird fly, I'm not lying to you. I played that video like 20 times just to watch that bird fly. Because I've seen that bird fly by the Washington Bridge. And it looks like a flying angel.
Ain't it something?
That's the best way I could explain. Like a person flying, a flying angel. And this is the facility that you're talking about for the birds, right?
Yes, that's it. We have a pond in there that's got trout in it.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
And we tried our best with that. That was actually came out very nice.
Now, where do you get the animals from? Who brings? I'm assuming that you're well known up in Hunter, New York, so people know you as the go-to place. But who brings these animals to you?
Well, usually, a lot of times it's just people who find them. I mean, I usually meet them halfway. I don't, because I cover a lot of area up here. So I cover from Albany down, and as far west as Oneonta, and as far south as Sullivan County. So I cover. We have almost 13,000 followers on Facebook. So we have quite a following.
So would it be fair to say that if someone found a deer that was in distress in the Bronx, and they would drive the deer up as far as I don't know, halfway, wherever halfway is to hunt him, would you be able to?
Usually, yes, unless there's somebody closer. Sometimes there are some people that are closer. We happen to be the only facility left that's doing black bear in the whole state.
Yeah.
Nobody else is doing black bear. The only other person who did it just retired. He's 81 years old, and he's doing it for 35 years.
Wow.
So he's had enough.
And how do you? This takes a lot of money. So how does your place run monetarily? Where do you
Only
get
donations?
Oh, strictly donations.
Strictly donations. We're a 501c3. We get no state or federal funding whatsoever. And that's pretty much it. That's how we operate.
And the veterinarians, do they work voluntarily or they get paid?
Yes. Yeah, they do.
So the veterinarians work voluntarily also. Do you have any programs in schools to teach kids about wildlife?
We used to, when my wife was alive, because it's very time consuming and it takes a lot away from here. And now that I'm by myself, well, I'm not by myself. I have a lot of volunteers. I shouldn't say that. But now it's a lot harder to do something like that. Yeah. So I don't have any, we used to have educational birds. Those were some of the non-releasable birds that I said before that we have to euthanize. Sometimes we find people who do programs. If you have the permit for an educational program, that you have the facility and the permit to do that, I try to find people that will take a bird that's non-releasable.
Wow.
So we try to find people everywhere to take birds. We try not to. We're not here to do that. We're here to save them. And if they have a good enough quality of life and they tolerate us, because there are certain birds that just don't tolerate people at all, no matter how long you have them. Like great horned owls is a great owl. They don't like people, and they're unless you get them very young and train them. Like let's say one falls out of a nest and he broke his wing and he can't be fixed and he's non-releasable. If you get him young enough, then you can train him. But if they come in as adults, they don't want them nothing to do with us.
But you do have books, though, right?
I'm sorry?
You do have books on Amazon?
Books?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a couple of some. We used to give some handouts for the kids when we were doing the programs. Yes.
You still do, or
we haven't had a new one in quite a while.
I sell these books. I was looking through.
Yes, that's us.
Here.
Yep.
Those are the coloring books and all that.
Yeah.
And then these three, it's like a series.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So they could get all that in Amazon, right? That money goes straightly to the rescue.
Yes. Yes. All the money comes here.
What's the hardest part of your job?
The hardest part?
Yeah.
The hardest part is not being able to help. I got an eagle in 2 days ago. Tested very high for lead levels. And unfortunately, he didn't make it. He passed in 2 days. And I got him a little. If I would have got him earlier, would have been great. Probably would have been very helpful. But unfortunately, once the lead level gets that high in the blood, there's usually no coming back from it.
How does lead get into an eagle's system?
They eat it.
But where do they get the lead from?
From animals that get dispatched on the side of the road or hunting season. Now it's going to get a little busier now because it's open season now for deer, and they do pick up lead from hunters that leave their entrails in the woods, and law enforcement. Every time a deer gets hit by a car and you're still alive, they dispatch them on the side of the road, and then the town picks them up and brings them to a landfill, and everybody eats. And that's how they get the lead. You can shoot a bird with a bullet, and that bullet can stay inside the bird forever, and will never get lead poisoning. But if he eats it, if he digests it, a piece of lead, the size of a grain of rice, will take down a turkey vulture.
Really?
Yes.
That small?
That's small.
Wow. How about that, folks? How about that?
Yep.
So how, is there a way to well, you're not going to be able to stop hunting, but is there a way to ask hunters to change to a different type of bullet?
Yes, they do offer an old copper bullet, which contains no lead, and that's safe for everybody. That's safe all around. It's a little bit more expensive, and it's not very popular with some people because they feel like, we're trying to infringe on their rights, which we're not. They can do what they want. I used to hunt. I hunted for years. I understand. It was a family thing. We all did it together, the whole family, my uncles, my father, my brothers. We'd all go hunting. I get it. But all you have to do is switch the ammo when you go hunting. You can target shoot with anything you like. But if you just switch ammo, and it's not just hunters, it's all law enforcement. Now DEC is starting to switch over to copper. But it's state troopers, it's sheriffs, it's local police departments. They all shoot lead. All of them. DEC is starting to switch over now, with the forest rangers, which is wonderful. But every little bit would help. We save a lot of eagles from lead, but it all depends how much they ingested and how long they were out there. If we get them in time, make a full recovery like Freedom. Freedom came in very high lead levels, and he's doing great. He's out there in July. It'll be 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, we put a little tracker on him so we know where he is. He look like this.
But you're talking about consumption. What? Let me see. Oh, okay.
This is a tracker we put on eagles.
I thought you showed me a magazine.
No. It's a solar panel here.
Oh.
And it constantly charges. And the picture I showed you with all those little red dots on it, that's where Freedom was all summer. Every summer he goes up to Canada. He does. This is the third summer in a row.
Goes on vacation.
Yeah.
It's
And what a
cool.
beautiful spot he picks, too. He picks a beautiful place. Nothing but lakes and ponds and no roads, nothing, no towns. It's actually pretty amazing.
We're up there. It was at the salmons, right?
I'm sorry?
But they had the salmon.
Yeah.
Fish.
Salmon, trout, whatever.
Speaking of amazing, we were going to talk about that alligator that was in your custody briefly.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we've had a few of them, believe it or not. I've had two that were taken out of someone's house that she raised as babies.
Wait, two?
Two. One was a caiman and one was a regular American alligator. And DEC came in and what happened was the woman was sick and the social service went in to go check on her and they realized that she had two alligators in her living room.
That must have been the shocker.
Yeah.
That should be on video.
So DEC, they social service called DEC, and DEC picked them up and asked us if we take them because they have no facility for any kind of animals. DEC doesn't take in anything. We take whatever DEC picks up. We usually take. So we ended up finding a place for them in Pennsylvania, who took them because no one's allowed to have them in the state. So we transported them down to Pennsylvania. We got them a good home with a bunch of alligators.
In Pennsylvania?
Yes.
I'm just curious. When you say that the two alligators that you took care of, they were put in a place with other alligators. That wasn't a private home, was it?
No. It was Pennsylvania. It's legal to have like roadside zoos.
Okay.
And this was like a roadside zoo, and they had like probably 14 of them.
So do you get snakes at all, or?
Yeah. Ball pythons, boa constrictors, a couple of poisonous snakes, one red-kneed Mexican tarantula, a serval cat, which is an African wildcat, and what else did we get? We don't turn anything away.
Wait. Okay, I want to go back to the tarantula.
It creeped me out. I'm not a reptile or a bug person.
Did the tarantula have measles and mumps, or what was up with the tarantula?
I got no idea. He was in a fish tank, and somebody was moving, and usually you need a permit for him, and I don't know what happened, but he got evicted from where he was, and then he moved into a hotel, and then the chambermaid who came in to do the room saw the snake and saw the tarantula, and she kind of freaked out, and she called DEC, and they picked it up.
Okay, so basically, I can see the headline now. Homeless man moves into hotel with a snake and 2 tarantulas. Okay, but they were
But these gators, these gators actually get them from Florida, for example.
Yeah, they get them. They get them in states where it's legal, and then they just bring them up here.
All you gotta do is bring a couple of eggs, and that's it.
Yeah, that's about all.
The same thing with the snakes and everything else.
Yep.
You know, I remember once I went in, what was it, Brooklyn? I think it was in Queens, no, in the Bronx, and I went with the animal control, and the person had a beautiful aquarium, and it was full of piranhas.
Yes.
And then he says they don't bite, and he puts his hand in there because as long as you feed them, they don't bite. And you see a little kid with Pampers climbing and putting his hand in too. I said, "What's going on with this family?"
Yeah. People are a little strange.
And then we took it and we sent it to that aquarium up in Long Island. We
Right.
got the big sharks and all that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing with the alligators. I used to do baseball car shows back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
A guy had like one of those mail bags, and he put it right on top of my cars. I had like a plastic cover.
Right.
Put it right there, and it's moving. What the hell are you doing? And he pulled out the alligator. He wanted to trade the alligator for a card. I'm not lying. This is New York.
You. I do. I believe you.
And then I told him, "Get this thing out of here." And then he says, "No, I said, "Listen, I'm a cop." You know? And so I told him I'm a cop. He said, No, I got a warrant. And he ran with the alligator. Okay, what's going? But this is real life. And they just bring these wild things up here, and then you end up getting stuck with them.
Yes.
You know?
Well, Dave, you're not stuck with yours because you do it strictly out of love for the animals.
Yes.
Can you use more volunteer? I know it would be great if people could send donations in, because it's a 501c3, folks, which is tax deductible. You'll be helping not only Dave, but you'll be helping animals. You'll be helping wildlife. So, Angel, can you put up put up the info about his organization? Okay, so that's a number, 518-965-1864, FFF If you want to send some money, it doesn't have to be big bucks. You could send $5, you could send 5,000, but whatever you can donate to keep this place open and thriving, because it's one of the few in the Catskill region. As I say, he's up in Hunter, New York, which is roughly from New York City. You're talking about a 2-hour drive.
Yeah, pretty much about 2 hours. Yeah.
Right. It's not Canada, but it's it's a third of the way there, but it's not that far.
No, we're just like an hour south of Albany.
Okay, so
southwest of Albany. So we're right about in the middle of both ways.
Okay, and the other bit of information that's important that we touched on in the show, but which I want to repeat, is that if you are in Westchester, even Lower Westchester, and perhaps the tip of the Bronx, and you encounter wildlife and the shelters that you're used to dropping the animals off at are full, or they just simply can't handle that particular animal, that particular reptile that you have, you can give Dave a call. Now, he's not going to drive all the way down to the Bronx, but if you can meet him halfway or just a little bit further, then you will have a place to take this animal, rather than throwing your hands up and saying, there's no place to put it, and just let it go. That there is a place that will take this animal, that will take this eagle, that will take a fox, or that will take wildlife. Now, that being said, if somebody wants to volunteer, and I take it that you could use volunteers also?
Actually, I'm pretty good with volunteers. I have quite a bit of volunteers right now, and they're all really good. They show up all the time, and they're actually amazing. They do great work, my volunteers. People that I have now, I got about 5 or 6 of them that are steady, and they're amazing, absolutely amazing.
What about equipment for animals? Anything that you might need, bird cages?
No, We use a lot of dog crates. I have a lot of the dog crates that we use. Otherwise, I just build a pen, or sometimes if a bird needs special, I have 4 different size mews for the progression of as the birds get better, they go from a small mew to a restricted flight, to a little bit of flight, and then to more flight, and then eventually into the flight cage. So everybody kind of gets moved along like a train as needed. So we do a lot of outside. A lot of my animals are outside now. I don't actually only have a couple of animals in here now, but usually everybody's outside. I try to keep them outside. I try to keep them acclimated to the weather and the time, because when it gets dark earlier, I should have to shut all the lights off down here, because if it's dark outside, I got to turn the lights off. But sometimes I work till 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock down here.
Well,
So I have to leave the
solar
lights on.
panels. Sounds like you could use some solar panels to help out. That's right. So if anybody wants to hook Dave up with some solar
Solar panels would be great. I got 7 freezers down here.
All right, so some solar. So what? This is it. I got it. You want to help Dave out? Cash and solar panels.
Solar panels would be absolutely wonderful.
So
My electric bill is crazy. I have rats. I have mice. I have all fish. I have all the food that the animals need. Everything is here on the location. Like I said, I got 7 freezers, all set and ready to go.
Well,
They have more food than I do.
well, and you're doing a great job. And we're getting to the close.
Before we close,
Yes.
I always do this. Before we close, I want the people to know about wildlife. People love doing selfies and feeding wildlife, and they don't even know what the hell they're feeding these guys. Because I see a lot of bread, and bread is the worst thing out there. What
Yes.
can people do if they want to feed these? Number one, they shouldn't be feeding wildlife, right?
First of all, it's against the law, technically. You're not supposed to be feeding wildlife at all. Bird feeders, especially up here by me, I'm in bear country, and you keep a bird feeder out, bird feeder's going to rip it down all the time. Every time. They love bird seed. It's an easy, quick snack, and they can't help themselves. Like I said, a bear's going to survive.
Yeah.
No matter what. They go through their garbage. People don't have the proper containers for their garbage, and they rip through garbage pails. Up here, all the stores, all the restaurants up here, by law, they have to have bear-proof dumpsters, which is a dumpster that lock, and the bear can't get in. But the residents around here, some of them don't do it. They can't. It's a couple $100 for a bear-proof garbage pail, and it is expensive. But if you control your food, the food source, you control everything, and that's the best way to get a bear killed, is to feed it. Once a bear attributes people and a house to food, that's a death sentence for a bear. If a bear breaks into a house, it's immediately euthanized by DEC. Immediately, as soon as they see it, they put it down. And it's a shame, because it's people's ignorance that get that animal killed. Instead of just leaving it alone and not feeding them and not getting them used to people. When you see a bear, you look at him. If you want to get a picture, take a picture, and then make a lot of noise and chase them off. Make them afraid of people. That's what's going to keep that bear alive. People don't get it. Everybody wants a selfie for Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and it's a shame. The animals end up suffering because people are just too selfish. Sorry, I said that after you just got done asking for donations.
Oh, that's
It's true,
But
because
that's the truth. It
nice.
is.
we
It's
have to
true.
say, but I'm guilty, because in my backyard in the Bronx, I have a lot of fruit trees, figs, and I put right by the trees. I put a bird feeder, but it's like a fountain, like stuck, and I put
Right.
all the food in there. And then right next to it, I got a water fountain with the sprinkler solar power.
Mhm.
And these birds are loving it. They're all there. I hear every type of bird singing. I have 2 parakeets in my house, and they're singing with the birds, and they're singing back. I mean, it's for me. It's like
Well, the thing is,
but I'm
where,
wrong.
where you live, it's okay if you want to feed birds. You're not going to attract the bear in.
Right.
Where I live here, up here, and everybody knows it up here. They know about it, because we've been preaching this for years. And they tell you, if you want to feed the birds, Feed them feed them in the wintertime only. Put it out. Take everything in the summertime. Birds don't need our seed in the summertime. We only feed birds in the summertime because we want to see them.
Right.
That's it. That's the only reason. They've been surviving without us giving them seeds for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And no bread.
With
couldn't
no
say
bread,
that.
no.
You
No
couldn't
bread.
say
Bread
that
is
better.
very, even goose, ducks, people go to the pond and bring stale bread. It's really bad for birds. It's very bad.
No nutritious at all.
That's
Well-
not what to feed them. And like I was going to say, in your case, you don't have a bear situation. Not many bears in the Bronx. I don't know where you live. Where do you live?
Yeah, we're in the Bronx. Angel and
In
I
the
both
Bronx.
live there.
Not a lot of bears there. I got
Hopefully not.
I got bears coming through my yard all the time.
Because I hear they're going
So
down.
for me to have a bird feeder out is ridiculous, because all I'm doing is asking for trouble.
Well, we do have a lot of coyotes now.
Coyotes are on the move. Yeah, there are quite a bit of coyotes. Yes.
Coyotes and the deers are coming to Bronx by packs.
Yeah, I know. There's nowhere to go anymore.
No.
There's
But
nowhere
even-
for them to go.
And even the bears are coming down to Westchester too now, right?
Yeah.
By Archery. It's like that's like 45 minutes for me.
Yep.
Well, we could go on and on and on, but we got to say good night or good morning, whatever part of the world you're in. So, Angel, you get the last word.
Me?
Yeah.
Angel gets the last word.
Oh, Angels gets the last word. Go ahead.
Angel gets the last word.
Listen, I'm glad you're here. Now we got a new friend with all these animals. You know I'm gonna be bothering you probably. Actually, I really want to go over there, but the thing is, it's 2.5 hours, man. But you know, I want to see that place. I really do.
You're welcome. You can come up and take a look. Bring your film crew if you like. I mean, we're not open to the public, but you guys can come up and take a look.
Thank
Oh,
you.
beautiful. Thank you.
so much.
And listen, thank you.
But I may put you to work. So there might be a crate or two to clean. So be careful.
You have to watch our Dina. She'll probably grab one of those cubs and start hugging them.
Don't worry.
Good luck with that.
But listen, thank you for being here, Dave. People, thank you for watching our show.
Yeah.
You know, it keeps us subscribing to our show. You get a lot more stuff on us, a lot of education, a lot of good things for the animals. Everything's for the animals here.
That's right.
And please donate. Donate to FFF Wildlife. And please, people, spay and neuter your pets. And do you know where your pets are?
Yes.